So, Dave Chappelle hosted Saturday Night Live last night, and he always makes news when he does. But his monologue was really excellent. On SNL, Dave Chappelle makes a plea for empathy, whether they're in the Palisades or Palestine. That's right. Now, unfortunately, Saturday Night Live is just insane in their
And that's like
copyright
NBC
claiming.
in general, right? Because we have that
NBC
with,
in general, but yeah, especially
Colbert.
SNL.
Is Colbert on there?
Colbert CBS,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
major networks tend to be the late night shows, tend to put in copyright
Yeah.
claims that not only prevent us from monetizing the video, but prevent anybody from watching it at all.
Right.
So we are going to play a clip of his monologue toward the end. We're playing the audio version of that only to avoid a copyright issue. And some more passages from his monologue are cited in this article. I'll do my best to read them. We don't want this to be radio hour where we're playing a bunch of audio over and over again. So this will give you an idea of the monologue, and then we'll play some of the key audio, I think, from the end. At the start of Saturday Night Live's first monologue of 2025, host Dave Chappelle described how Lorne Michaels first approached him in October to do the show this season. He wanted Chappelle to weigh in on the state of affairs after the election. Those were salad days when the impossible seemed possible. Chappelle's initial response, nah, man, I'm cool. But then he reasoned he had a bunch of Donald Trump jokes to offload, so what the hell? The moment I said yes, he continued, LA burst into flames. With so much of the city still desperate and reeling and the winds getting ready to pick back up, surely it was too soon for him to tell jokes. And then Chappelle gave us that disobedient wink, the one that so often gets him in trouble. A late bumper in the episode showed Chappelle wearing a somber expression with the word human linked on his forearm. Indeed, he spent his nearly 17-minute monologue not on arch provocation or picking at grievance. Instead, Chappelle took his time crafting an argument for radical empathy, for stars fleeing their million-dollar homes, clutching an, how do you say that? Erewhon bag of overnight clothes, for the Haitians of Springfield, Ohio, for the people of Palestine. What leaps that compassion demands us to take. What a swing with one hand on the bat and the other pinching his cigarette. The jabs were there too. Jokes about how the news is calling the LA fires the most expensive natural disaster in U.S. history. People in L.A. have nice stuff. I could burn 40,000 acres in Mississippi for like $600 or $700. Yes, that was a good line. Yes, and that tackles the hidden class, not so hidden, but something that people haven't talked about, which is the class element regarding the fires. He talked about his loyalty to the Haitian folk living one town over from his home in Dayton. Yes, Chappelle lives not too far from Springfield. As Trump demonized those hardworking legal immigrants this fall, accusing them of dining out on suburban pets, Chappelle says he patronized a Springfield Haitian restaurant to show support. I don't know what that meat was, but whatever it was, it fell right off the bone. Chappelle touched on Diddy and his hurt feelings over realizing why he'd never been invited to a freak-off party. Oh my gosh, I'm ugly. Moreover, if you really study my face, clearly I have snitch energy. Then Chappelle hoisted himself off his stool, his voice turning lyrical. This Diddy nonsense, what does it matter when Monday looms and half of us will spend the day with fingers in our ears turned away from the screen while diehard MAGA warrior standouts, okay, blah, 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 it's some Vanity Fair, lib bullshit, whatever. On the day that Trump becomes the 47th president of the United States, the flags will be or should be at half-mast for Jimmy Carter. And here was the surprise hero of Chappelle's monologue. So here Chappelle sort of eulogizes Jimmy Carter by way of, expressing some great empathy and humanity for Palestine. And here's where our audio will kick in.
I was in the Middle East years ago. After I quit my show, I was trying to find out what I wanted to do with my life. And while I was there, Jimmy Carter flew to Israel. So everybody in the region was talking about a former American president being in the Middle East. And while he was in Israel, a book of his was released, and his title was very controversial in Israel. And the title of the book was Palestine, Peace, Not Apartheid. And people were very mad in Israel. There was a lot of mean stories that came out in the paper, but some people were supportive. And while he was there, Jimmy Carter said, I want to go to the Palestinian territory. And the Israeli government said it's too dangerous. And if you go, we cannot protect you. And man, Jimmy Carter went anyway. I will never forget the images of a former American president walking with little to no security while thousands of Palestinians were cheering him on. And when I saw that picture, it brought tears to my eyes. I said, I don't know if that's a good president, but that right there, I am sure, is a great man. It made me feel very proud. The presidency is no place for petty people. So Donald Trump, I know you watch the show. Man, remember, whether people voted for you or not, they're all counting on you. Whether they like you or not, they're all counting on you. The whole world is counting on you. I mean this when I say this. Good luck. Please do better next time. Please, all of us, do better next time. Do not forget your humanity, and please have empathy for displaced people, whether they're in the Palisades or Palestine. Thank you very much, and good night.
Well done. Well done. It's great monologue. The monologue itself is great. A lot of really funny jokes, and, you know, as Chappelle can so well do, you know, it becomes a sort of as much a spoken word theater piece as a comedy set, you know, toward the end. You know, he's really, really good at that in the way that Carlin was really, really good at that, where Carlin can do, you know, really, really hilarious comedy and then just really shift into another mode where he would go on these 10-minute monologues that are not designed for laughs, that are more philosophical and more serious. And Chappelle's great at that too. You know, he and Carlin are really kind of in a league of their own in that sense. That's why he's one of the greats. And so, yeah, it was a great monologue, great story about Carter. And just obviously, you know, some of the most explicit pro-Palestine content you'll see on these shows, full of people who are just afraid to go there. And that's why it's fortunate that you have an uncancelable person like Dave Chappelle willing to go there. You know, it's a lot more useful. It's a lot more useful. As much as, like, I didn't think that The Closer was a transphobic show. I thought he front loaded it with a lot of the edgier stuff that would get a lot of people to turn it off before he gets into the really good stuff about his trans friend who was a comic and stuff. So I think that was probably an error in formatting if I were to nitpick. But I didn't think it was like a bigoted show. But I think, you know, this is a much better use of that because this is the shit you really can't say. And most people will just simply will not say it. Even Whitney Cummings, when she went to troll CNN, she's like, in advance, she told the people, all right, I'm not touching Israel-Palestine. I'm not touching that because that's actually dangerous. I'm going to go and do a sort of semi-dangerous troll job. But good for him for being willing to go there.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a teachable moment. We probably don't have a lot of them who watch our show, but for all the hall monitor minds who thought that Dave Chappelle should be deplatformed because they didn't like his view on gender issues, I've made it clear where I stand on that. Whatever. Even if you feel that way about it, this is why you do not deplatform a great artist like Dave Chappelle. Because you know what? Even if you don't agree with his perspective on that, at the time that he was speaking on that, that was extremely dangerous to do. It was not clear at that time. Chappelle had been gone for a long time. You know, he popped up here and there. But he really started to reestablish himself in the public conversation with those Netflix specials. That was really, there was this long gap after he left the Chappelle show where he, you know, here and there, but he didn't really do consistent work for decades. It wasn't clear that he was uncancelable. It wasn't clear. He could have lost his career for saying that shit. It's exactly that kind of person who would be speaking out now about Palestine. That's why you disagree. You want to disagree with him, that's fair. But you don't cancel him. You don't remove him from the public stage. He is what you call an important artist. Not like all the artists who bent the knee, who wouldn't take a position on that. And let me tell you a secret. Most of them thought the things that Dave Chappelle was saying. Most people thought the things that Dave Chappelle was saying, but at that now a lot of people are saying it because it's safe. At that time, it took someone like Dave Chappelle to come out and say, yo, man, yeah, it's a legitimate human experience, but there are issues and layers and levels to this that need to be examined. And again, you could disagree with what perspective he had there, but this really demonstrates why you don't cancel people. We need people like Dave Chappelle, whether you agree with them or not. We don't need another 1,000 cookie cutter comedians who are going to be careful, like Whitney Cummings, not to talk about Palestine because they're afraid to lose their career.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Please clap.